Good evening all. On behalf of Builders Association of India, I welcome you all the participants to the day 6 of the program. So I especially invite Engineer L. Joseph, Treasurer of BAA, and the speaker of the day, Mr. L. Vimal from USAM for the session. So I just have a brief introduction about the speaker of the day, J. Vimal. So J. Vimal Devaprabhu is a civil engineer by academic qualification. He is now working as manager, training and support at USAM Catsoft India Private Limited. He takes care of training and implementation of various softwares used in AEC, that is architecture, engineering and construction industry. He has over 20 years of experience in CAD industry as CAD draftsman, CAD trainer, technical support engineer for softwares used in architecture, engineering and the construction industry. He also working as a visiting faculty for most of the architectural colleges in Coimbatore, Trichy and Madurai. As an Autodesk certified instructor, he has supported Autodesk in training the trainers of various authorized training centers in South India. As a technical support consultant, he has supported Autodesk resellers in training and implementation of Revit and BIM in various companies in South India. As a BIM consultant, he has supported a few leading companies in India and UK. A few awards he has been awarded a few awards. So they are Autodesk Certificate Professional for Revit from the year 2006 to 2020. Autodesk Certified Instructor and Evaluator for AEC Architecture, Engineering and Construction Softwares, and Best Technical Support Engineer for CSoft Products for the year 2010 and 11. Sir, I am just handing over the session to you. Just take care of the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, Vimal sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, உங்களுக்கு host பண்றேன் sir.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yes, sir.
So, good evening, everyone. I would like to welcome you all for the day 6 of the, event. And first of all, I really thank Builders Association of India for giving us this opportunity to showcase the various products which has been used in, the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. Myself, my name is Vimal Devaprabhu, and I'm working as manager for CAD support and training at USAM Catsoft in Coimbatore. And so once again, I welcome you all. So USAM Catsoft is placed in different locations in Tamil Nadu and in some places in Kerala and Hyderabad and Bhubaneswar and all. So we have branched out in all these areas, and we've been in this industry from 1990 onwards. Almost like we have been in this industry for almost around 30 decades. And we focus on 4 different areas of the CAD industry. That is the hardware, the software, the engineering services, and the training. So on the hardware front, so we are an authorized dealer of HP, Epson, and we do supply large format printers, and which is used for CAD, especially to take the large format printers, which is used to take printout of your drawings, which is for approval, and for the regular scheme drawings, and even for we also have the image printing plotters, which can be used to take different images. Okay, that is on the we do support, or we do the sales part of the Epson and HP, and on the software end, we are the gold partners of Autodesk softwares, where we do support on the manufacturing segment, the AEC segment, and the other softwares. And we are also an authorized reseller of SketchUp Pro and SketchUp Studio, which is an beautiful 3D based softwares which has been used in the industry. So on the I would kindly request you to keep your mics muted so that it would help us all. So on the training front, we are an authorized training center of Autodesk, and we are also an authorized training center of SketchUp, and for V-Ray also we do the same. So we do training on AutoCAD, Revit, the SketchUp Pro, and 3ds Max and Revit, and on V-Ray. So we also have other couple of other products where we do the training, like the CivilCAD graphics, the Photoshop. So, so on the engineering services front, most of you people in Coimbatore might have known us. We do a lot of engineering services where we do help you out on taking printouts of your drawings from A4 to A0 and A0 plus, whether it might be a CAD drawing or an image drawing. We do that, and we also do provide the tracing printouts and the blueprints or the ammonia prints, so which is useful for submission drawings which are on the government side. And we also undertake 2D and 3D drawings at our place. We have a team which helps different people on developing their drawings in 2-dimensional and in 3D. And we also do scanning and copying services here at our place. So this is about our 4 different areas in which we work, and these are some of the accreditations what our company is actually holding right now. We are an authorized certification center, the resellers, and the training center of Autodesk. We are also the authorized resellers and the authorized training center for SketchUp, and we are also the accredited partner for Epson, especially on the printers and plotters. So if you ask why USAM for CAD or BIM, we have around 30 years of experience, and we have been serving this industry. And we are a value-added reseller and a training center and a certification center for both Autodesk and SketchUp. And not only that, we do cover all segments of architecture and engineering, and we have our infrastructure at Gandhipuram in Coimbatore. And most of the instructors here on the training front, most of our instructors here are certified by Autodesk, SketchUp, and V-Ray. And we do follow their standard, the guidelines which has been provided by the principals like Autodesk or the Trimble and the Chaos group of SketchUp for V-Ray. So first of all, I would like to ask you a question. So what is CAD? So when this might be the question most of you people will be thinking about when you're when you hear the name for the first time. So what is CAD? Even for some people who have been using this, might be thinking like, what is CAD exactly? So if you ask me, CAD is basically a computer-aided design software, and it is used by engineers, architects, designers, or construction managers, and different people to create designs. So now CAD is, using these, what I can do is I can develop precise drawings of my building with plans, sections, and elevations. And if you ask me, is AutoCAD is CAD 2D or 3D? So that is a common misconception. As I was telling you, most of you might be thinking you're using CAD, but CAD means like it's not just 2D or 3D, so it's combined of both. So whereas how it can be said is, when you say CAD can be used as a drafting tool or maybe a 2D drawing tool and a 3D modeling tool, and not just that. It can be used by various people at various levels. So for example, engineer or basically when you develop some scheme plans, what we do is we always start up with some 2D drawing, and then maybe if you want to show some 3D modeling or some conceptual elevation models and designs like that, then we work on the 3D part. So both together is actually the CAD. So it basically depends on what type of software you're going to use for that. So CAD is both 2D and 3D. So I hope you are able to hear this audio. If not, maybe let me just, once again, sorry about this. Let me just stop and share my screen once again so that you can have the audio of that. So this is a small video which explains, how CAD is being used in this industry. So it's a quick, short video of what CAD exactly is. I hope this video tells you like what CAD is all about. So CAD basically is a tool where you can work in both 2D and in 3D. And why CAD is used in construction industry? If you ask me that, I would say it has a very high accuracy and precision of drawings. And not only that, you can easily modify them, change the drawings if there is any corrections in the later stages for revisions or for the different iterations. And you can also export these drawings to different formats so that people who are using the different softwares, or even if they are not using AutoCAD, they will also be able to understand like what the drawing is and things like that. And you can communicate your drawing with multiple disciplines. That is, for example, an architect can send his drawing across to the structural engineer, or the structural engineer can send his drawings across to the architect, and they both can collaborate on the drawings, and then they can understand each other and then work on the different modeling or on the construction front. So that's how the communication between multiple disciplinary teams can happen. And the best part, why CAD is being used is we can actually design physical objects in a virtual space here. And it's easier to document, where we can quickly do the documentation and detailing work of our drawing. And you can also use CAD in a cloud collaboration methodology, where you can upload it to a cloud space, and wherever you have an internet connection and then tab or a mobile or just a browser, you'll be able to work on CAD with that. So CAD has now been moved into something called as AutoCAD Web also, so you'll be able to use AutoCAD on the web. So this is about why CAD has been used in construction industry. And there is another interesting thing which is actually evolving in the industry, which is called as BIM, or the Building Information Modeling. So building information modeling is basically an intelligent 3D model based process where you'll be able to efficiently plan, design, and construct. And not only that, you'll be able to manage the buildings and infrastructure in the later stages. So BIM, it actually starts from the conceptual design, the detailed design, the analysis, the documentation, the fabrication, the construction, and the overall operation and maintenance, and later on the renovation also. So it's kind of a complete life cycle of your building, which throughout which the BIM will be involved. And whenever you start modeling in BIM, you'll be able to use it across the different stages of your construction also. Now, BIM, as I was telling you, BIM has different level of modeling. So in AutoCAD, we were discussing about 2D and 3D, right? So 2D is two-dimensional and 3D is three-dimensional. Whereas if you ask BIM, so BIM, it basically starts with the 3D modeling, where it has the different 3D models, the animations, the walkthroughs, and other things in that. And it also extends up to 4D scheduling, where you'll be able to do a lean scheduling, or just plan it like kind of your project planning, and everything can be incorporated into that here with the 4D scheduling. And you can also derive on the cost and estimation of your project with the 5D estimating and quantity scheduling and estimating. And not just that, you can extend your BIM to something called as the sixth dimension, where the sustainability is into the main focus, where you'll be able to do it with more of conceptual energy analysis, sustainable element, designing, and all these kind of things, which we'll be discussing in at the later stages of our presentation. And not just that, we'll also be able to use BIM for 7D, which is called as the facility management. Even after a building is being constructed, if there is any changes, the end user or the person who is actually going to be or use that building knows where to go and get what product and to replace it and everything. So it would be like, everybody knows like where the product has been bought, or something like, for example, there is a light fixture which I have fixed during the construction of my building. After 5 years down the line, the light fixture is worn out, and I just need to replace it. So at that stage, if if I'm not able to get that same model or same thing, and if there is a false ceiling, then there would be a lot of risk there. So if I know the exact product model, the product detail, and everything, it would be easy for me to go to that particular manufacturer and ask for the same model and thing or that the element, and I'll be able to replace it here. So this kind of thing happens with BIM modeling, and for that also BIM is being used. So as I know, for now BIM has something like around 7Ds, where it starts from 3D to 7D, and not just that, you also have the two-dimensional drawings also being done with BIM. Okay, so let's move ahead. How you can ask me like how BIM and CAD are different, right? So BIM and CAD, if you ask me the comparison between them, so CAD is basically a drawing and designing and modeling tool where you do a 2D drawing, you design some shapes and things like that, and you do a 3D model, basically, the basic 3D model, that's all. And in CAD, what you can do is you create detailed documents. More of documentation and detailing has been done with CAD. Okay. Whereas BIM is a platform which contains database of information. So information about a wall. Maybe if you are constructing a wall or if you are creating a wall in BIM, you will know what would be the quantity of the plastering that is required, what would be the quantity of brickwork that is required for that wall. What finish I'm going to use, everything will be there in that. What would be the area of the plastering, what would be the wall, the number of bricks that I need, every detail, not just for a wall, for every element that you do it in BIM, you'll be able to retrieve them and you can use them. And BIM, uses a model and information. As I told you, it uses both the model as well as the information in that model. And it helps in multiple disciplinary coordination. Say, where, if I have an Revit model, if that is an architectural model, I can use that architectural model and I'll be able to develop my structural model on top of it. So without disturbing the architectural elements, I know where to place the columns, where to place the structural columns, what sizes it has to be placed and things like that. And if in case there is any changes, there has to be some changes happening on the architectural front, I'll be able to send it across to the architectural team and they can once again update it and send it back to me. So, the coordination between or the gap between the two different disciplines of the construction industry is actually getting reduced because of this. And, BIM gives you the total takeoffs and estimations here. So you'll be able to calculate the quantities and estimations as I was telling you. And not just that, it reduces the amount of time and increases the accuracy of the project. So this is about BIM. Okay.
These days, a growing number of architects, engineers, and contractors are using BIM. And here's why. Global trends are making AEC projects more complex, while advances in technology are helping industry professionals work more efficiently and effectively. This is where BIM comes in. BIM is an intelligent model-based process that connects AEC professionals so they can more efficiently design, build, and operate buildings and infrastructure through BIM, or Building Information Modeling. With BIM, designers create digital 3D models that include data associated with physical and functional characteristics. The power of BIM is how it allows architects, engineers, and contractors to collaborate on coordinated models, giving everyone better insight into how their work fits into the overall project, ultimately helping them to work more efficiently. The data in a model defines the design elements and establishes behavior and relationships between model components. So when an element in a model is changed, every view is updated, with the new change appearing in section, elevation, and sheet views. You can use the information in the model to improve your design before it's built. Gain faster buy-in and approvals with realistic visualizations. Convey design intent to the field. And, most importantly, retain model intelligence from concept to construction. BIM provides insight into a design's constructability, improving the efficiency and effectiveness of the construction phase, and also providing a better understanding of the building's future operations and maintenance. Owners can use BIM for predictive maintenance, asset tracking, and facilities management, and for future renovation or deconstruction projects. When you work with BIM, you'll experience reduced project risk, improved timelines and cost savings, and better project outcomes. And the power of BIM is growing with cloud-connected technologies that let project teams design and work together in all new ways. Driven by global trends, the AEC industry is in a time of transformation. Businesses that want to win more work, deliver projects more efficiently, and design better buildings need a powerful solution. And that solution is BIM.
So BIM is basically concept to construction, and not and beyond that, you can use it for the facility management and things like that. So that's BIM. And let me just talk about the solutions what we provide at USA and Catsoft, and the products which I am more familiar with and I have worked with. So these are some of the products on which I work with and my team work with. So, and I'm going to tell you how these softwares are classified and how they are support in different levels of drawings. For especially for 2D, we have something called as AutoCAD, which is from Autodesk, and we use it for the 2D drawings. So most of you might be knowing this, and some of you might not be knowing this. So, but for 2D drawings, AutoCAD is one of the beautiful software. And for 3D, we have a portfolio of products like Revit Architecture, the 3ds Max. We have SketchUp and V-Ray for 3D modeling and visualization and rendering. And we also have BIM-based products like Revit Structure. On top of Revit Architecture, we also have the structural part of Revit, the MEP part of Revit, and something called as Format. And we also do some 4D simulations with Navisworks. Navisworks is basically a collaborative tool where you'll be able to collaborate the models from different people like the architects, engineers, the MEP consultants, and all these models can be collaborated into one single model. And you can add the timelining of your project, and you can understand like on what date, what amount of work is going to be progressed, and how the building will be looking like. And you can also gather the quantity and estimation based on different stages of your building constructions. And for analysis, we have something called as Insight and Robot Structural Analysis. One is for the architectural front, another one is for the structural front. And we also do something for steel detailing. We also have some software called as Autodesk Advanced Steel. And we also have more other softwares. But so these are some of the softwares on which I'm going to talk today. And I'm going to tell you like what each software is going to do and how you'll be able to use it in your industry. So as I was telling you, for 2D drawings, we have the process of creating 2D drawings is basically creating and editing technical drawings, and these are used by architects and engineers, and they are used in the site for construction. We know all these things. So the software that is being used here is AutoCAD, and AutoCAD is basically a powerful 2D software, and it's used for drafting and detailing mainly. And the best part is you'll be able to easily edit, update, and do changes on the product or on the model that you're working with. So you can work from anywhere with AutoCAD Web. As I was telling you, AutoCAD is now not just a system-oriented product. Now you also have something called as AutoCAD Web. All you just need is just a login from Autodesk. And once you have the login, you'll be able to log into your account at any internet browsing centers which has an internet connection, and and with just with an internet browsing connection and a web browser, you'll be able to work with AutoCAD Web. And you can also share your drawings with different consultants. or the clients, so that they also know, or different consultants and contractors, you can share the drawings, and you can share it across to the clients also here. And this is how basically the CAD drawing looks like. And I'll tell you like how AutoCAD is used. What is it used for? It is used for creating scheme plans, the sections and elevations, um, and approval drawings, the structural drawings, the electrical drawings, the plumbing drawings, FMB drawings, or the contours and interior drawings. And AutoCAD is used by architects, the structural engineers, the surveyors, the interior designers, the land developers, the real estate developers, and the public sectors. So these are some of the drawings which we have actually done. There's something like the scheme plans and sections and elevations which you'll be able to do. And you can also do the approval or the submission drawings for the government side. So whenever we start the construction, we do provide the approval or the submission drawings. And we can also use it for RCC, RCCD. Sir, can you just please keep your mics muted, sir? Because hello. So we can also use it for RCCD. Sir, is it possible to keep the mic muted, sir? So we can also use it for the electrical wiring drawings and the plumbing layout drawings, where we can have the different, we can show the pipelines, how it is going for the different areas of a building. And we can also prepare the FMB drawings, where we can understand like how the boundary of my property or the boundary of the field is, and from there I can understand where my building is going to be and how it is going to be located and things like that. And not just that, we can also create contour maps, or we can generate these contour maps in AutoCAD, and we can work on top of that here. And we can also use AutoCAD for the interior drawings. Okay. Now on the 3D modeling front, as I was telling you, 3D modeling front has different softwares. First of all, I would like to explain what 3D modeling is. It's basically a process of creating a digital representation of any object or any building. Okay? So you're going to digitally represent the building that you're going to construct. Okay? And it can be created by extruding or just pushing and pulling of some shapes, and you can create them and edit them. And we can also, pull out realistic images from by a process called as rendering on top of modeling. So modeling is just the modeling part, and rendering is a part where you will be able to get an output of the model as in a realistic image. And we can also add animations to the 3D models, which cannot be done in 2D drafting drawings. So we can add animations here, and we'll be able to see how the building is going to be and how everything is going to happen inside that. And not just that, we can also use the 3D models for media and entertainment, and we also use them in the engineering industry. Okay, the softwares that are being used in 3D modeling here are Revit architecture, where we do the complete BIM 3D model, and we have 3ds Max, where we can do a visualization model, and we can also use SketchUp, where we can build a conceptual 3D model directly here. Okay, so let me just quickly show you how these softwares are going to work. And we also have something called as V-Ray for the rendering process, as I was telling you in the earlier stage. So rendering is another big concept, and we use V-Ray for that. Revit architecture is basically a BIM-based software. We talked about the CAD and BIM earlier, and Revit architecture comes under the BIM category. And it is a parametric modeling tool. When I say parametric modeling, that means if I have a room of 10 by 10, 10 feet by 10 feet, or 3 meter by 3 meter, So it is used for, when I say parametric modeling, it's basically a parametric modeling tool where what we can do is, if, let's say I have a room or a building of 10 feet by 10 feet or 3 meter by 3 meter. Now, let us say I want to. I would kindly request all of you to keep your mics muted because there would be a disturbance for others also. So keep your mics muted. It's a kind request from my side. So when you change the dimension of the room from 10 feet to 16 feet or from 3 meter to 5 meter, so what actually happens is in your CAD, you just change the dimension value. Whereas here in BIM, whenever you change the dimension, the model updates. So that is why we call it as a parametric modeling tool. And not just that, this is a bidirectional associativity based software. It has something called as bidirectional associativity, where whenever I do any changes on the plan, the changes are automatically reflected on my section, the elevation, and the other views like the schedules, and not only in the schedules and on the sheets also. So it is a complete coordinated model which can be shared with different other consultants, and you can, as I was telling you, you can use the model from the concept to construction and beyond. So these are some of the models that what we can do with Revit architecture. We can do the floor plans, the elevation, the 2D elevations or the 3D model, and maybe later on take it into some rendering softwares and do the rendered outputs on that. Okay, so Revit architecture, if you ask me who uses it, it's been used by architects, the landscape architects, the interior designers. So it is used to prepare the working drawings, the presentation plans, the elevation and sections, the detailed drawings, the 3D detailing, and quantity and estimations, visualization, collaboration. So the working drawing basically looks like this, where you have the the different dimension details of your entire plan with all the dimensions and how the rooms are placed and what are the dimensions in that. Everything you will be able to retrieve from this. And not just that, you can also prepare a complete presentation plan of your model, and you'll be able to share it across with your clients or with your other consultants. And you can also prepare beautiful 2D elevations and sections directly from the model. And you can also do a complete detailed drawings here. So where you'll be able to do a detailed, complete 2D detailing of your model. And not just 2D, you can also do the same type of detailing in 3-dimensional also. So these are some of the 3-dimensional detailing done in Revit. And you can also take the schedules and quantities of your doors, windows, furnitures, not just these elements, you can also take the quantities for walls and other elements also. Walls, floors, and other elements also you'll be able to schedule and do the quantities. So not just that, you can do a complete visualization in from Revit. You can do basic visualization, or you can take it into other visualization products like V-Ray and all, and you will be able to do a rendered output still. Okay, moving ahead, next we have something here called as 3ds Max, which is basically a rendering software, and it is used for 3D modeling, animation, and visualization or rendering. So this actually is used in mostly in the game environments and in movie industry. Okay. So how we use it is we use this to create walkthroughs and animations for the buildings that we are going to construct, and we can create the virtual reality experiences through this product. Actually, we can give a realistic experience, like just going into the building and looking into the different rooms and the furnitures which has been placed inside that. So you can prepare images, the visualization images from 3ds Max, or you can also do a complete walkthrough and animation. So it has been used for 3D modeling, 3D rendering, the animations and all. So it's mainly used by the game developers, the character modeling, for movies and animation movies, and for other CGI in movies. It's been used by the character modelers. Even in film animations, they use 3ds Max, and different 3D visualizers, they use the 3ds Max here. And not just that, it's been used by advertising agencies, and in the architects use 3ds Max mostly to generate beautiful walkthroughs and renderings. And it can also be used, or it has been used by product designers who design their own product. And if they want to showcase their product, they can render it and showcase it from 3ds Max. So these are some of the 3D modeling which can be done with 3ds Max. There are something like the character models, the product designs, or the interiors and other things, which can be actually created in 3ds Max. And you can also do a complete rendering here in 3ds Max with all the FX, different type of FX and lighting and other things here. And you get beautiful rendered outputs also from this. And you can also prepare a walkthrough and animation, something like this. You can see that you can create a complete. This is a very old, animation which I have done some time back, and I just tried to compress the file size because of the because I don't want that to be very much. So that I think that's the reason why it is kind of blurred here. Otherwise, this was a good animation actually, and. Walkthrough, basically, it's not an animation, it's basically a walkthrough, which is created in 3ds Max. So now moving ahead, we have another software called as SketchUp. As I told you earlier, we are an authorized resellers and an authorized training center for SketchUp. SketchUp is basically a user-friendly 3D modeling software. Okay, and whatever you think in 3D, you draw in 3D. That is how that is the motto of SketchUp. And what I can do is you can create and visualize your ideas with SketchUp. You can just since this is a kind of an builders association, and it's more of the same fraternity. People are here. I'm going to talk more on the architecture and the building segment. I'm not going to deviate from that. But SketchUp can be used in various other industries also. So if you ask me who uses SketchUp, especially in our industry, like architects, the kitchen and bathroom designers, the interior designers, the construction people, the engineers, the woodworking, for those who develop, the products like tables, chairs, or even some wardrobe, and different woodworking people, the landscape architects can use. It has also been used by film and stage industry people, the gaming, the heavy civil, where we use more of when I say heavy civil, it means more of MEP and other things. That is the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, which has the complete HVAC, the electrical lining, the plumbing and piping, the fire protection system. All these people can also use SketchUp here. And it was also used in the infrastructure and urban planning level. So they use it to create conceptual models, the detailed models, and do analysis and construction documents and photorealistic renderers. So I can just quickly show you like how SketchUp has been used. This is a small video. It's a time-lapse video which I developed on creating a small classroom here in SketchUp. So it's a quick and easy software. Maybe I can just show you on this video. So you can actually quickly create different 3D models, and I just showcased a small, classroom which has been done with SketchUp. So what you can do is you can use SketchUp to do a lot of other 3D modeling of your buildings. The conceptual modelings, the detailed models also can be done here. And V-Ray is basically a rendering plugin software, which I was talking about from the beginning. It has been used with 3ds Max, SketchUp, and Revit. And V-Ray is mainly used in different industries like the film industry, the video game production, industrial design, and the architectural visualization area. So here, V-Ray is mainly used by architects, interior designers, the product designers, the video game developers, the media and entertainment people. And it is used to create, they use it to create photorealistic renderers, the product visualizations, and different environment renderings. So these are some of the photorealistic renderings that you will be able to get it from V-Ray. Maybe the 3D modeling can be done with Revit or 3ds Max or SketchUp. And you'll be able to pull that model into, or take the model with V-Ray, and you'll be able to render it there. And these are some of the rendered outputs from V-Ray. And these are some of the product models which has been rendered in V-Ray. You can create your own design of product, and you'll be able to showcase it to different people by rendering it with V-Ray. And we can also use V-Ray to do a complete environment effect here, where we'll be able to see the the different lighting and things like that. And these kind of rendering can be used in both the architectural and engineering visualizations, or in film and media and industry. Now moving ahead, we have the BIM softwares. So there, I was talking to you about BIM softwares, right? So Revit is one of the Revit architectural front is one. Now we are going to look into the other parts of Revit, and the other different BIM softwares which is being used in the industry. Now we already saw about Revit architecture, so I just don't want to take a lot of time on explaining about what Revit structure is going to do. It's almost the same. It's a kind of a parametric modeling tool. It's the it has the bidirectional associativity, and it is basically an integrated structure model, I would say, because the structure model, what we are going to do with Revit structures is going to be integrated with your architecture model, and it is actually going to be a collaborated model or an integrated model, I would say. And you can create better documents here with all the quantities and estimations. We have a better control over the documentation that we prepare here. And Revit structure is used by the structural consultants, the structural engineers, the draftsmen, and they use it to develop detailed drawings, 3D detailing, the quantity estimation, and collaboration. So for RCC detailing, we can use Revit structure, and we'll be able to do the bar bending schedule, and we can also see the the reinforcement in 3 dimension in RCC detailing. And in steel detailing, we'll be able to use Revit to do these steel structures or the PEB buildings, and we can also understand how the connections are there and how it is going to be riveted, or how the elements are fixed and things like that. And we can also do a complete 3D detailing of that here. So you can see that, not just the 2D detailing, we can also do a 3D detailing of that model. And we'll be able to take the quantity and schedules of our steel components, as well as our the reinforcement members or reinforcement elements that we use in our RCC members here. So we can get a complete rebar schedule, as well as the framing schedule, structural framing schedule, or the PEB schedules. Now the Revit MEP is again a BIM-based product. It works on top of the Revit platform. It's a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing services. Okay, so it's again a parametric modeling tool. Since it's Revit, it has the bidirectional associativity, and this model can be integrated, or it can be integrated with your structural and the architectural models, and you will be able to create beautiful documentation and detailing from this here. So it's mostly for the centralized AC systems, the plumbing and piping systems, the wiring, the electrical conduits, and things like that. So MEP, it has been used by the HVAC consultants, the HVAC designers, the electrical consultants, the plumbing consultants, the fire protection designers, the draftsmen. For all these kind of industries, they use Revit MEP. And Revit MEP is used to get the detailed drawings of these models and 3D detailing or 3D modeling, the quantity and estimation, and the collaboration of the models. And so these are some of the detailed drawing what you will be getting from excuse me, from Revit MEP, where you can have a complete detailed drawing of your HVAC layout, or you can have the detail of your electrical layout or the detail of your plumbing layout here. And not just that, you can also get the complete 3D detailing where you can integrate all the three, that is the HVAC, electrical, and plumbing. Everything can be integrated and you'll be able to get one single model out of it. So you can get a complete 3D model from there, or you can do a detailed quantity takeoff of each and every duct or the fabrication element that you're going to use, or the the piping, the plumbing equipments, the sprinklers, the valves that has been used in your building. Everything you can get the quantities and estimation of them here. Now I'm going to talk about another beautiful software which is called as Format. Format is basically a software which is used for 3D conceptual design. Okay, this actually it starts at the beginning of the design process. So this is the software which will be used at the beginning of the design process. And this software is BIM from day one. The time you start using this software, it means it is a BIM software or it's a BIM model, because Format has an advantage of defining this different sun and shadow effects. And not just that, you can do a complete energy analysis at the start of your design itself. Whenever you do a basic design, you can understand like how the sun and shadows are going to affect your building and how the energy analysis is going to be with different models that you're going to prepare. And you can integrate the conceptual design into Revit, and from there you can develop them into a detailed design and detailed model. So you can have a conceptual model, and then later on you can export it from Format and you can take it into Revit and you can do a detailed model in there. Okay. So Format is used by architects, the green building consultants, the MEP consultants, and they use it to do a complete conceptual modeling. The performance analysis of your model or the performance analysis of your building can also be done with Format. And it can also be used as a collaborative software between the different industries. So as I was telling you, Format can be used for more of your complete conceptual modeling with the green building analysis. So like you're constructing a green building, and that it is it's a carbon emission control building there and everything. So from the day one onwards, it is a BIM, and you can export the same model into Revit and you'll be able to use it. So this is about Format. And as I was telling, we have something here called as 4D simulation. There is a concept called as 4D simulation in the industry. So the 4D simulation is basically where you will be able to, if you ask me what is 4D simulation, I would tell that it is more of a collaborative model where you'll be able to link your timeline and your schedule of your building. And not just that, you can create visualization of your construction process. I'm not talking about the constructed final output. I'm talking about the construction process from day one, from the excavation to stage by stage construction. I can know what is actually happening on the site and what level it would be completed on each day, and of the building, and I'll be able to get a proper output of that here when I link my BIM model with my 4D simulation. And here what I can also do is I can identify the clashes. Let's say I'm constructing a building, I'm constructing a multi-storied hospital complex where I have different the HVAC piping, the oxygen pipes runs, there is some plumbing things which is running and things like that. Now, when I'm constructing, I find out that there is a clash, there is a pipe or a duct which is actually embedding into my beam. So what do you do at that time? At the time of construction, if I identify that, it takes me a lot of time to redesign that and rework on it, and then come back and execute it on the site, right? So, but here, even before I start breaking the ground, or even before I start excavating my ground, I'll be able to identify the clashes which is going to happen some 3 months after I start my construction, and I'll be able to rectify it even before I do anything on the site. So that is the advantage of this 4D simulation, and you'll be able to do the entire thing in the virtual space. And with the 4D simulation and things like that, you'll be able to improve your delivery time, the quality of your construction, and you also have a very big cost saving on it. Okay. So the software that we use for 4D simulation is something called as Navisworks. So Navisworks is one of these software products which is used for collaborative 4D simulation. Okay. So Navisworks is a collaborated model, where you'll be able to collaborate model from different disciplines. That is the architect's model, the structural engineer's model, the MEP consultant's model. I'll be able to collaborate or merge everything together here in Navisworks, and I'll be able to review the model, and I can also understand where the clashes were, and I'll be able to identify them and rectify them here. And so this is how some of the clash directions would be displayed, and I'll be able to quickly rectify them. And I can also add my timelining. That is, the project management team would have given me certain time duration for the construction processes of certain elements during the construction of the entire building. So I'll be able to add these to the model, and I'll be able to get a proper video output of the day-by-day construction schedule. Okay. So who uses this? If you ask me, this software is mostly used by project managers or the project planning and project management team. And it is also used by architects, the structural consultants and structural engineers, MEP consultants and MEP engineers. So they use it to collaborate the project, review the project, understand clash reductions, and to develop timeline simulations which can be showcased to the client in later stages. Okay.
Navisworks manages large datasets, whether large-scale city models or detailed facilities from numerous industries, including sporting stadiums and hospitality venues, power and process plant installations both on and offshore, and manufacturing for factory layout and simulation. Currently our largest user base is within the AEC industry, especially strong in construction. Here we see virtual design and construction specialists and construction managers using Navisworks to create a multidiscipline model, integrated from architectural, structural, mechanical and civil engineering models and specialist trades. This can then be further integrated with construction schedules for 4D simulation like this, enabling the project to be reviewed and analysed by all stakeholders in both space and time. Virtual design and construction is becoming to AEC what digital prototyping is to the manufacturing industry. And we're starting to see these highly detailed models used throughout the building's life cycle, linking to facilities management or operations and maintenance systems, with Navisworks providing a visual portal to this project intelligence. Navisworks provides a comprehensive review toolkit, including sectioning tools using direct manipulation to quickly isolate specific project areas for review. Realistic navigation features such as gravity enables real-time exploration and interaction with the project model, providing all stakeholders, including owners, the opportunity to experience a project before it's real. Accurate measurements can be taken directly from the model during review or in the field. Markup tools enable collaborative review and communication across distributed project teams. Navisworks further delivers powerful analysis tools, including clash and interference analysis, management and reporting tools that enable end users to find and address coordination issues virtually before getting to site, which can generate an enormous return on investment. As well as finding conflicts, you can manage these too. For example, grouping clashes that involve the same element enable you to deal with them together as a single issue. And using comments, statuses and reports to communicate and track these issues through to resolution. As mentioned earlier, integrating design and construction models with construction schedules from third-party planning applications enables project stakeholders to visualize and validate their plans, and also simulate alternatives to prepare for what-if scenarios and identify optimum schedules. So here you can see the schedule in a Gantt chart within Navisworks, with each task linked to the design elements within the project model. In the simulation, you can see the date up in the top left, and you have a project timeline that you can play back, scroll through, or jump to specific dates. This type of analysis can be further augmented to include logistics simulations, creating mock-up scenarios of construction sites to assist in planning and visualizing areas of potential risk. For example, finding optimum positions for site cranes, and ensuring adequate clearance with surrounding buildings, topography, or temporary structures, such as scaffolding. Using the schedule to identify when materials will be delivered to site and where they can be staged, for example, whilst maintaining relevant access routes. The simulations can also be used to communicate temporary road closures, diversions, and so on, in order to gain local government approvals or public acceptance. Or to ensure adequate access to install specialist equipment, or to explore removal of equipment for maintenance purposes. So as you've seen, Autodesk Navisworks software facilitates improved collaboration between project teams by integrating diverse design and construction data to create a coordinated whole project model, which can be reviewed, analysed and communicated to all project stakeholders. This shared knowledge and understanding greatly reduces risk and increases the likelihood of the project being delivered on time and within budget.
So this is about Navisworks, where you'll be able to do a complete, the project management, and you can use it for 4D simulations. So now on the analysis front, we have different softwares. Now, if you ask me what is an analysis, I would say analysis is a process of breaking a complex component into smaller parts and to understand it in a better way. Okay. And the building there are two types of analysis that we do. One is the building performance analysis, and the second one is the structural analysis and design. Okay. And the softwares used here are Insight and Robot Structural Analysis. And we'll go ahead into these products now. So the insight is basically, to design more efficient buildings, and it's for the thermal energy simulation and things like that. And we can also do a complete daylight analysis here with Insight, and we can do a heating and cooling load analysis. Okay, that is, I can understand like what is the amount of cold air that is required, what is the amount of hot air that is required into space when it is when the temperature outside is different. I can just use a hot air or cold air through the air conditioning units, and I'll be able to understand like what is the required amount of air that would be used here. And I can integrate these things with Revit, okay, with the Revit model, and I'll be able to understand the exact amount or the quantity that is required, and I can also understand what would be the amount of carbon emission that is going to happen from this building, and I'll be able to do a complete green building here. And Insight is basically a green building analysis software. And if you ask me who uses this, it's mainly used by the architects and the MEP consultants to understand, how the heating and cooling loads are going to work, and where I need to place a window, where I need to have an opening, whether it has to be a glass or whether it has to be just a general opening, like what is the amount of shading that is required and things like that. And it is used for the understanding the carbon emission, the thermal energy simulations, calculate the daylight metrics. We can also do a complete solar study here, or we can also do the heating and cooling load analysis here in this. And the next product, what we're going to see is something called as robot structural analysis. And robot structural analysis is a product which is used for complete, the structural analysis and design. Here I'll be able to use, simulate design and it's basically a simulation design and analysis software. And it can be used for any type of structures. And now they have integrated different country codes, and we also have India country codes integrated into robot structural analysis. And this actually complements with your BIM model. So whatever BIM model you are actually going to do in Revit can be pulled into robot structural analysis, and we can do a complete analysis and design here. And you can do a coordinate and digitally analyze and design here with this software. So the robot structural analysis is mainly used by the structural designers and the structural engineers, and it is used for doing buckling analysis, the wind load simulation, non-linear static analysis. So these are some of the analysis on top of the regular, the analysis what we do. I just, put up some points here on this. And so these are some of the, outputs or some of the image screenshots of the models, which we do in robot structural analysis. And we also have something here called as Advanced Steel. So the Advanced Steel is basically a 3D modeling and detailing software. It is used to automatically create fabrication drawings from the PEB structures, which we are going to do for the PEB structures. And we can do a complete bill of materials. We can get a complete bill of materials here. And we can also have the NC files. That is, these files are used to cut the beams and sections, or the the sections to the desired length and sizes that we require. So these are called as numeric codes or the numeric controls which is used, and we can send it across to the manufacturer of the sections. So they'll be able to cut it for your desired length and sizes, and they'll be able to give it across to you. So the Advanced Steel is mainly used by structural engineers and draftsmen to develop the detailed drawings, the fabrication drawings, the bill of materials, and to get the NC files from them. And we can also do a 3D detailing or a 2D detailing from Advanced Steel. And okay, so these are the softwares which I wanted to talk about today. Now let us talk about how the design industry or the design space in industry is being used. If you ask me, the AEC design space, that is the architecture, engineering and construction design space, is classified into 4 different areas. One is the design, the second one is the visualization, and third one is the documentation, and fourth is the collaboration. So there are different softwares which has been used in the different stages of this. Now, we all know that there are different softwares which we have seen now. Now, let me ask you one by one. So we know AutoCAD, right? So AutoCAD is used in which industry? If you ask me like in which industry or in which design space does AutoCAD fit into, I would say AutoCAD fits into a documentation area. It's mainly used for 2D documentation. It's not used for something more than that. It's not used for design or visualization and all. It's basically used for documentation. And if you look at Revit, Revit is used for design and documentation purposes and for collaboration. A part of collaboration and visualization also happens within the Revit software. And 3ds Max is the basically a visualization tool where you will be able to do a complete architectural visualization with the rendered outputs or walkthroughs and all. And we have SketchUp. SketchUp is basically a design and visualization software. You can use a part of SketchUp for visualization, and you can use it mostly for the design space. And V-Ray is basically the complete visualization tool which works on top of Revit, 3ds Max, and SketchUp, and you can use it for a complete or a very photorealistic and high quality images and rendered images. So the format is basically conceptual architectural design software where you will be able to do the conceptual modeling, and you can this is what actually starts the design stage. The format is the one of the product which is used at the early stages of your design. And for collaboration we use Navisworks. When we want to collaborate with all the models that we have created, we want to collaborate and find out the different simulations and find out clashes and other things, we can use Navisworks here. And for green building analysis and green building design, we use Insight. And robot structural analysis is used to do is a design-based product which is used for structural design and analysis. And we have Advanced Steel, which is basically a documentation-based tool where you will be able to do a model, and from that model you'll be able to take different documentation details like detailed drawings or the bill of materials, or you can also generate the NC files from that. So we have different software products here, and Autodesk has come up with something called as Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection, or we call it as AEC Collection. It's basically a pack of all these softwares. All these softwares are included in this AEC Collection tool, and we also deal with this software. And I move ahead into my, for the students who are there in this webinar, if you ask me where to learn CAD, that is whether it's a 2D or 3D, if you want to generally learn CAD, so you have to learn it from an authorized training center, which uses a proper licensed software and which provides an authorized certificate for you, which will be used across PAN international and not just PAN India. Okay, so with where they provide the instructors are certified or the dedicated instructors are available, and a center which provides an industry-based training where you will be able to know what is actually in the industry and you learn based on the industry. And you also need to know that whether they do end-to-end solutions and whether they themselves or the trainers themselves are really aware of these things there. And you also need to look at the good infrastructure for the of the training center, and which has the recommended hardware, because the hardware is whatever is the however good software we learn, we need to have the recommended hardware for it. Otherwise, learning the beautiful softwares like these will not actually work out. So, and we need to know of the instructors has to be flexible with different techniques to teach you how to learn or how to make you understand the things in that. So that I would say it's a flexible instructional techniques. So these are the qualities that you need to see when you want to learn CAD from any of the centers. So I'm open to your questions. If you have any questions, I'll take up the questions now.
Thank you, sir. Students, you can unmute your mic and then you can ask questions.
Or you can also put it in the chat, I suppose. Maybe I can have a look into the chat and I'll be able to quickly update on that.
So some students has posted in the WhatsApp group. I will read out one.
Yeah, please.
Is the design softwares are really giving exact results?
If you ask me, yeah, that depends on how you are going to model it. Basically, from what I have, from my personal experience, I would say that when I was doing some BIM consulting at some stage of my career, I have worked with some of the leading industries here in India and some of the industries in UK and Middle East. So I have seen that BIM gives you almost around with if you're going to do it with a BIM model and if you're going to do a proper analysis there, then it gives you almost around 98% of accuracy in that. So I think that is almost nearing to what exactly is going to be used in the construction site. Right? So I think yes, if you ask that question, yes, it purely depends on how we model it and how we define the values or how we define the loading and other details. If we have done it properly, then the results are really good. That's what I would say. So any other questions, sir?
Yes, sir. Is really the BIM will be the future scope in India?
Yes, exactly. Because from what I see is, say, if you people ask me or the people at my age group, if you ask some of the people at my age group, so what we have experienced is we have seen telephones, and then we have jumped into something called as mobile phones. I'm just practically speaking here. I'm just giving a practical example here. Whereas if you look at the international market, the market moved from telephones to pagers, and from there it slowly it moved into handheld devices or the devices which can be used only within some like automobiles, and then they moved into something called as handheld devices or the mobile phones. Whereas India, it's actually has done a very big leap in that communication industry. And from what I see here is India is actually doing that transition now in AEC industry. So we have not gone through the different stages of the, or we have not gone into different softwares, but from what I see is I see most of the people want to learn BIM softwares rather than starting from the basic 2D design softwares or basic 2D drafting softwares. Most of my students, they themselves have told me that, so we want to start with BIM, and then in later on or in the later stages, if it is really required for us, we'll go back to CAD and we'll learn CAD. So I see BIM, getting into more of the future of construction industry in India, but it would take some time because there is a constraint in that. I'll say that also because I have to be very open and clear on what I'm going to say. Because when I say BIM is the future, there are certain constraints for that also to come up. So because we don't have a lot of manufacturers and we don't have a lot of people who do manufacture components which is being used in the industry. If you look at the construction industry in US or UK or the European market or the Middle East market, each and every element is pre-manufactured or pre-designed, and they just bring it in the site and just just fix it and finish off the construction. Whereas in India, it's more of like we do a lot of things on site, and this is actually now changing because we are also moving into something called as pre-engineered buildings and precast concretes and precast structures are being coming up. and things like that. So I see um, we are moving in the right direction, and down the line we'll be seeing that BIM would be one of the best industry, or the future of construction industry in India.
Okay, sir. Next is what are the three most used softwares in the construction industry?
Depending on the area that you want to work, I can categorize these softwares because see, if there are people who want to work mostly on, some people will want to work on the architectural segment or the architectural detailing and documentation area. Some might be interested in working on the structural detailing, structural analysis, and things like that. Some would be interested in working with a project management team or the green building kind of concepts and things like that. So depending on the area that you want to work, we have to categorize these softwares and we have to learn these softwares from there. So from my understanding, I would say there are 5 different category of softwares, not just 3. There are 5 categories of softwares which has to be known by every person in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. That is, every person has to know a basic 2D drafting or detailing drawing, detailing software. They also need to know a 3D modeling software. Then they also need to know a BIM-based software. And fourth is a visualization-based tool. And fifth is something called as, the design tool or the design or analysis tool. So these are the 5 different areas that I would say from where you can pick these softwares and you can use them. So I won't say the software names, but I can say depending on the industry that you're going to work with, you need to choose the right products. Because I cannot roughly say, okay, you can learn, but there are a couple of common softwares which you can learn for, for 2D drafting and for 3D modeling. So that is for 2D drafting, it is AutoCAD, and for 3D modeling, it is you can use SketchUp. So that these are the 2 different commonly used softwares, I would say. Apart from that, the other softwares are like industry and your interest-based things that you need to learn. Yes, sir. Any other questions, sir?
Yes, sir. What about the softwares like Lumion and ETABS?
Yeah, okay. Lumion is it's one of the rendering-based engine. It's a render-based engine. See, why we don't suggest Lumion at this stage is like, yes, Lumion is a good software. I don't say it is a very bad software because every software has its pros and cons. There are certain plus, there are certain positives in that, so there are certain negatives in that. Okay, so the Lumion is a beautiful rendering software. It is a beautiful walkthrough based software. Yes, I agree with that. But the that software cannot be used in completely in India right now because the hardware that we use are not up to the mark for that. That is what I see, because we are restricted on the hardware segment. We are mostly we restrain ourselves on the hardware segment. But I see few people are coming out of that restraint and they are actually ready to buy hardware which even costs like 2.5-3 lakhs just to use these kind of tools, because the cost of the hardware to use like a product like Lumion and all, it's very heavy because we need to invest more on that. So I don't think Lumion would be commercially a very good success in India. But if people are ready to go ahead with that kind of a they don't have a commercial constraint on it, yes, Lumion is another beautiful software which can come good in industry. And ETABS, yes, ETABS is one of the beautiful structural design tool which I have come across. I have worked a couple of projects. I have seen people working on ETABS and I have coordinated with them, but I have not tried my hand on ETABS. So I know that it's a very good software, but I cannot comment on any the difference between the other softwares here, because I literally have not tried anything on ETABS. So, but I have tried on these softwares, so I know that how these softwares work and how this has helped me grow in this industry. And from my experience only, I've been sharing it across to you. I'm not just talking about that on a common basis, I have not taken this webinar. So I hope maybe in case you want to learn more about ETABS, maybe we can, maybe I have to do some research on it, or maybe I need to work on some project, and then only I'll be able to tell you like what are the different pros and cons in ETABS. But Lumion, yes, I have worked on Lumion, so I know what it is.
Okay, sir. Is there any other questions from the participants who are inside the meeting?
So if you have any questions, you can unmute and you can ask me one by one, so I'll be able to take your questions on it.
Okay, sir, I think there is no more questions. On behalf of Builders Association of India Coimbatore chapter, and I thank Mr. J. Vimal Dev Prabhu from USAM to make the session as very wonderful, and given the basic concepts and what are the needs for the industry as of now from the software side. Thank you, sir, once again for the
Thank
session.
you, sir.
Thank you all. Thank you, participants.
Thank you all. Thank you from the Builders. First of all, I thank Builders Association of India for giving me this opportunity to